Hi, good afternoon. First, I want to start this video off by telling you that tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to have a podcast, myself, Steve Olson, and some other guests, and we're going to be kind of doing a recap of the week and things that we've learned since we've independently been doing things. It's quite astonishing that both of us have been talking about similar things, and yet we don't coordinate. But we're going to have this blog talk tonight, and that's at blogtalkradio.com/Global Witness, 5 p.m. Pacific time tonight. So I wanted to express to you that with these discussions that I've been having explaining Enki and Enlil and the Annunaki, the reason why I'm explaining these things is so you understand precisely who they are. You've heard me say continuously throughout my videos that they are powerful and that they are not to be underestimated because they are far more technologically advanced than you might believe. Now, this is clear within all of the archaeological discoveries that we have, including the pyramids themselves and the great stones at Baalbek in Lebanon, where these stones and also many of the carvings were done by laser. I mean, we have this understanding that these things were cut by lasers. They were not chisels and hammers. So these were an advanced people. And so when I explain these things to you, that they could move these blocks from hundreds of miles away, capabilities that we don't even have today, that we can't with our greatest cranes, we couldn't accomplish today. So clearly they had some forms of technology in order to accomplish this. It's not possible on the backs of men. So with this, during these discussions, when I explain to you that they're gods, well, because they are considered gods, that doesn't mean that they are the Father God, that they are as great as the Creator of all. In fact, I've explained at length that there is a Creator of all that even they refer to, that they have to revere, because the Creator of all is the Creator of all things and far more powerful than even they are at a high degree. So I've had people that were, followers, so to speak, prior to those videos that heard me call these people gods and think that I'm saying that they are God. They're wrong. Because the reason why I'm explaining these things to you is so you understand the gravity of what's going to happen. Because when they do actually show up, first Enlil will show up, and he will appear and to you and every other major religion as being their Messiah. Every religion has a variation. Let's remember that Enlil is primarily one of the crafters of the words. So you have prophets and you have people that are listening to the Father, but also writing the words of the likes of Enlil. So this is a competition essentially between two brothers. And that's what these texts speak of. So when Enlil shows up, he's going to be mighty, and he's going to be powerful, and he's going to sound compassionate, and he's going to make statements like he wants to rid the world of all of this awful deeds, just like the character that is called Elohim in the movie the Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse. If you haven't watched it, watch it. You're going to see the portrayal of exactly this, that the whole world will bow to this man, will bow to this so-called God, and he will tell you that he is he. And he will deceive everyone because the powers that he has within his hands will be mind-blowing. Now this will help you understand why this gate becomes far more narrow than you even understand. Because for the most part, every church, every religion's description of their Messiah will be met by this one individual. Everything from Buddhism to Christianity to Islam to Hinduism, he will represent their Messiah, and they will all collectively give in, and all governments will collectively give in to him. And he will craft messages, and his ego will have such an issue for the remnant that deny him because he is so great. He'll be able to do things like carve a Grand Canyon and command a plasma strike to do just that. We're talking superior powers. This is spoken of throughout all of Revelation, or did you think that these supernatural things were just figments of people's imaginations? We're all here today listening to these things and searching for these truths in preparation for these times. So the reason why I'm telling you this is so when you see it, you will know. This is why Christ said, you see, I've told you these things beforehand, so you can prepare yourself. If you weren't prepared for such beings to be here, then you would also bow down before him. Now coming behind him, that will destroy that one, will look also like the Christ coming. And that will be his brother Enki. Because see, both of them have the same agenda, destroying the other. So we have some very problematic things to deal with, that the source, the Father, is far more difficult to obtain because he needs you to be completely free of these things. He needs you to be completely free of both good and evil in the perception of what those are. You need to know that there is a single law, and that law is love. And that law isn't on the good side because good is completely distorted in this plane. It is the neutral side. It is the coin turn on the side. It's the narrow gate. It's not the head nor the tails. It's not the good nor the evil. That there is a neutrality in love. In true love, there is a neutrality, a complete lack of judgment. Everything in this world is going to be judged. And it is not our job to judge, because when you judge, you corrupt yourself. You become part of that good and evil equation that the serpent in the garden promised. You do not know the difference between good or evil. You only know the difference between good or evil when you're living within it and picking a side. There are no sides to choose here. The only side is the Father, and that is a neutral side where you're not adhering to anything that is going to appear there, because none of this is real. It is the Father's to go to, not this world. This is why Christ was emphatic that you die to this world, including the perceptions of good and evil. So when people want to attack, that's going to happen because they believe in their own minds that they do know these things. So I want to read to you from Isaiah 6:8, I believe. Don't have my glasses on, but I can struggle through this. It says, "And I heard a voice from the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and whom will go for us? Then I said, Here I am, send me. And he said, Go and say to this people, Keep on hearing, but do not understand. Keep on seeing, but do not perceive. Make the heart of this people dull, and their ears heavy, and their blind eyes blind, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and understand with their hearts," not their mind, "with their hearts, and turn and be healed." Then I said, How long, O Lord? And he said, Until cities lie waste, without inhabitant, and houses without people, and the land is desolate waste, and the Lord removes people from afar. Now listen to that. And the Lord removes people from afar. So he's not speaking from afar from you. He's talking removes these people that are from afar. And the forsaken places are many in the midst of the land. And though a tenth remain in it, it will be burned again. Again. Whose stump remains when it is wow. Something just occurred to me as reading this. I had to pause. This is how the Father reveals things. And though a tenth remain in it, it will be burned again. So the remnant will experience the burning, and they will smell the flesh, and they will see the destruction. Like a terebinth or an oak, whose stump remains when it is felled. The holy seed is its stump. So he's speaking of what remains and why, and this new earth. So the remnant, that just reveals, the remnant will remain here. Only a tenth of what is here right now. Who are you, and are you a part of that tenth? And more importantly, ask yourself this question: would you want to be? Because that tenth is going to be required to be a very different person than anyone that remains here right now. The amount of love that you will have to have, the amount of compassion for those that are remaining with you, will be so great. So do you want to be? These are the questions. So I wanted to do a bit of an illustration here. I tried this once before, and unfortunately the red doesn't show up very well, so I'm going to do it again. Now the illustration that I'm going to do here is to help you understand who Enki and Enlil and Anu and the Anunnaki are with regards to the Father. Because everyone seems to have this concern. They don't understand. Now, I apologize for my finger. I tore a tendon in my finger breaking up a dogfight. So, apologize in advance. So, let me try to see, hopefully, that this will give us a bit of an illustration. Here you have the overarching Father. Can you see this? And within this is the creator of all things. Within that, in a very tiny part, you have the Anunnaki. And within the Anunnaki, you have Enlil, Enki, Anu, and a whole litany of lesser gods, so to speak. And they are communicated by a representative from the creator of all named Galzu. So, these characters are responsible for the creation or the imprisonment of us within this system. Now, the Father allows this to happen, obviously, because nothing escapes his eyes. Nothing escapes his purview. In order for you to return to source here with him, as the creator of all would require, you must be refined. So as in the text, the Sumerian texts also describe that they also, within this sphere of influence, recognize that the creator of all is using them to accomplish his goal. Now you can ask yourself, well, why so much torture? Why all of these things? Well, I can promise you one thing, that you cannot stand next to the Father unless you understand the difference between good or evil, and that you understand that it doesn't exist, not with him. There is no good, there is no evil. There is no binary system. But also understand that this place here is a birthing place for the children of the Father. That this is birth pangs. This is why Christ said a seed must die and go into the earth before it can grow into a tree and grow into life. That you must die before you can live. I know these concepts are deeply, deeply spiritual. But these are concepts that you must become comfortable with. And again, I'm explaining these things so you don't have any concern as to me telling you that these here are the Father or that they are God. They call themselves gods. And this is to put to bed all of those detractors and those evil people in their videos that are trying to take away the water that you have. They're trying to disrupt your path. The vitriol and the anger of these people are their fruits. The Father isn't angry. He isn't wrathful. He isn't vengeful. Only these gods within this sphere are those people. So they are acting on their behalf already. They are already given to the enemy. They've already accepted the enemy. They're telling me that I believe that these are gods, yet they are already serving them as God. And they don't even know. Because they believe that they're wise in their own minds, just like Isaiah speaks of. They believe that they're shrewd, just like Isaiah speaks of. These are the dull hearts. These are the deaf ears. These are the blind eyes. Ones that would make judgment. Ones that would cast judgment on you. And ones that would make statements and comments that serve only one purpose. That's to bolster themselves and to reconvince themselves of something and to actually interrupt your path. They don't have an interest in saving you. They have an interest in harming you because they work for their father, and their father is the enemy. So when you see the likes of a guy, David Mott or Moat or whatever his name is, and some other guy that believes that he's an anonymous Christian, pay attention to their anger. Make a note of it, because those people will simply replicate the people within your immediate surroundings. So use those people as examples that when somebody begins replicating them, you'll know they're of the enemy. And ignore them. Ignore them. I love you very much. My heart has grown heavier and heavier and heavier as time it becomes more concerning. The things that are being shown to us right now and the proximity of the celestial bodies that are here. And I would like to address this for a second. That those that want to not hear these truths because they, quote, don't believe space exists. Well, you are limiting your understanding of this system that we are in. I assure you that space exists. It might not be provable within the technological framework of what we have access to. And so when you want to say it's a flat earth or a concave earth or an oblong earth or a square earth or any of those, it matters nothing at all. Nothing at all. Because destruction is going to come to a square earth in the same way it would come to a triangle one. It doesn't matter what's going to happen, because the construct that we're within is coming to a close. Period. And it doesn't matter what shape or size or configuration it is. These things do exist, but everything that is created by the Father is corrupted by the enemy, including these things to be these distractions for you in your mind. The mere fact that you think that the shape of the earth has any relevance whatsoever to what is coming upon this earth is staggering to me. Can you not see these things? Open your eyes, open your ears, and understand with your heart. They will make these prophecies come true because the prophecies are written. These are the words. They're already established. You couldn't alter them. You can't. The Father cannot withdraw one word, or he withdraws all of them. Don't further confuse yourself. Do not stand in arrogance like you know anything. I don't even portray myself as knowing something. Only others would portray me as thinking that I know everything. I know nothing. I only share with you what is given to me by some other way. That it is given to me by the Father to show these things. And I know that it's given to me by the Father, because if it were of the enemy, it would be much more popular. And all of the things that Christ said would happen is happening. The testimony of Christ is the spirit of prophecy, meaning that you will go through the exact same things that he went through, meaning your families will call you crazy. You will be attacked and you will be persecuted. And yes, some will be put in prison and some will be killed. These times are coming upon us very quickly, where if you deviate from these, particularly after they have come, it won't be long. If you're intended to be a remnant, you will remain. If you're not, you will be killed and removed and sent to the source. Which, quite honestly, I would draw a dotted line around my neck for the guillotine. You can send me out of here. However, I think the Father has very different plans for me. He's shown me that he needs me here. So who are you? And are you sticking around? And if you are, then stick around with me. I love you very much, and I hope to hear you tonight and get your questions on blogtalkradio.com/Global Witness. Call in, ask your questions. We want to hear from you.